What is going on, everyone? After 4 years, we finally got our hands on the long-awaited BlackMyth WuKong. It's time to see if it's been worth the wait. On the surface, this game has amazing visuals, intense combat, and deep lore rooted in Chinese mythology. Overall, it looks like this is going to be a great experience from all angles. Hey everyone, it's 𝐵Righteous again from Identity, and if you're interested in builds, guides, and discussions, then this channel is for you. So don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe if you're new. Now let's get into it. There's been a lot of talk about how much BlackMyth WuKong is similar to Souls-like games. Well, it's time to set the record straight now. WuKong is pretty much in an RPG category of its own because this game is deep. You'll quickly see how many different styles you can play. I foresee a lot of replay value here, especially with New Game Plus. And if you got the collector's edition like me, I'm sure you're enjoying right now the starter gear that comes with it, along with this cool looking healing gourd. But let's start with the combat, specifically within the skill tree. This is the foundation, and there are three main trees: stamina, martial arts, and survival. Each caters to a specific playstyle, but you can spec into whatever you like to mold your character's strengths and weaknesses to your preference. Firstly, don't worry about being locked into the spark points you've already invested, because you can reset your points at checkpoints with no penalty. So just experiment with the skill tree and see how everything scales as you progress. Within the foundation, stamina influences your core, movement, and versatility during combat. I personally love these types of upgrades. It's always great to have a reliable core. Master the arts of sprinting and dodging while conserving stamina to maintain agility. Only with sufficient stamina can one truly excel and revel in battle. Moving on to martial arts, this introduces the more flashy but effective unlocks. Numerous staff abilities that allow you to flex on whoever tries you. I'm going to have fun exploring the skill tree specifically. And finally, we have the survival tree. Man, all three of these are very appealing to me as I enjoy becoming formidable as well. With reinforced health and other defensive benefits, I'm sure I'm going to need this towards the end of the game and when starting 𝐿G+. Furthermore, there are staff stances that flow naturally with the skill trees and can be seamlessly switched with the push of a button. They're called Smash, Pillar, and Thrust. Within these stances, there are abilities you can perform as they are activated mid-combat through dodging to gain focus. They can only be activated if you have the required amount of spark points though. And on the skill tree, the lower you go, the higher the spark point requirement to unlock. These are considered charge attacks, essentially stronger attacks that need maximum focus to activate. Each stance requires a certain level to unlock. Smash is your most balanced stance and is unlocked at the beginning. Pillar is unlocked at level 5, giving you the ability to perform special attacks with your staff. And finally, Thrust, which some consider the strongest due to its many charge attacks. This is unlocked at level 20, but the most beautiful aspect about this is that you're not locked into just one stance. You can seamlessly swap between them, and with this capability, the combat versatility is endless. And I know this looks intimidating, and you might not know what to upgrade first. Well, there are certain unlocks on the tree that benefit all three stances at the same time. So, if you invest in, for example, Exhilaration, this affects each level by slightly increasing the health recovery upon consuming a focus point. There are others, but I'll wait for you to play the game to decide which one you want to choose. This brings me to my next point, magic. It ties directly into this versatility as well. And I don't want you to get confused, because I know you've seen the many transformations in the game where you temporarily take the form of a defeated boss and use their signature move to gain the advantage in battle. Well, that's not the same as the Pluck of Many, for example, where you spawn a series of WuKong clones, or Rock Solid, where you can parry attacks by briefly turning your body into rock. These are completely separate. So for this guide, I'm going to say that the transformations remind me of ultimate abilities, activated by simultaneously pressing 2 buttons using a high amount of chi, aka mana, and having a longer than normal cooldown after completion. There are many of these. Some are stronger than others, but when it comes to skills, these can be used more often. Some are passive and most are active. For example, Cloud Step costs 30 chi with a 35-second cooldown, while Rock Solid also costs 30 chi but has a 15-second cooldown. And get this, the skills can even be customized further through the Mysticism and alteration trees depending. So between the skills and transformations, it seems like one of the best approaches is to save the longer, more impactful transformations for the harder boss fights and use skills while fighting regular enemies. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. But that's not all, fam. The plot thickens and it gets even deeper. WuKong has gear with set bonuses that can be upgraded with currency. Yarn is a standard upgrade material, and Will is your currency, to purchase things and craft items. It's like gold, and you obtain this from enemies you kill. This gear has a rarity system ranging from uncommon to legendary, and each piece has a specific stat from defense to offense, letting you know what type of playstyle it supports. Let's take the Pilgrim's Garb for example. It's an early game defensive set with a 3-piece bonus that increases attack damage while sprinting, which ceases when you stop. Man, I can already see the many build combinations I can come up with. For instance, catering to a more stamina based character from the skill tree so that you can sprint longer and take full advantage of this set without running out of stamina. But that's just one of the many possibilities, and I'm sure there are countless others. Not only can you upgrade your gear, but you can also upgrade your weapon. And here's another potentially confusing subject within this combat topic: weapons and how they work. Remember I mentioned transformations, right? Well, there's another type. This is where you can completely embody the essence of a fallen enemy. You've seen this, I'm sure. And while in this embodiment, you aren't allowed to use the legendary main weapon that son WuKong uses. You're forced to use the weapon of the enemy you've embodied. For example, the nameless warrior with the flame glaive called Red Tides. By the way, that's the name of the first game that 𝐼𝐴 made as a developer when they first started out years ago. So yeah, they're flexing. Anyways, you basically become him, along with others you can unlock by defeating them. So you can't just simply switch to the Red Tides weapon as WuKong, which I used to think. But you can attain different staffs within the rarity system with various stats, and they can also be upgraded. And this is with WuKong style. This is so cool because these staffs actually have unique effects that work only with specified spells, further catering your builds to a certain playstyle. Let's talk a little bit about the healing gourd. This is quintessential to your survival, as it's what you consume to keep yourself alive by replenishing your health. You can refill it at checkpoints, and there are ways to upgrade it to gain more charges. The gourd also has enhanced healing effects when within the Ring of Fire skill. Additionally, you can find drinks and medicines that provide temporary effects, consumables, all of which can be obtained by defeating foes or purchasing them, finding them in certain areas. It's crazy, man. Some consumables even permanently increase your health or mana. Okay, I think I'm going to pretty much wrap this up because I've tried my best to make this guide as beginner friendly as possible with minimal spoilers. I want you to discover the staffs, the weapons, and gear for yourself, but I'm confident that this guide will help you get off on a strong start. If there's anything you'd like to add, or if there's anything I missed, feel free to drop it down in the comments below. I appreciate you stopping by and watching to the end. And if this helped you out in any way, don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe for more builds, guides, and discussions. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see a more in-depth video snippet or guide about how builds work, then click this video right here. I'll see you in the next one, fam. Be right out.